A few major storm systems are set to impact the United States throughout the rest of April. This will set the stage for a very active stretch of weather. Our first storm arrives over the next few days, bringing the threat of severe weather and spring snowfall. Additionally, a very hot stretch of weather is ahead for the Great Plains, but it will not be long before multiple severe weather events return in the middle and end of April, bringing the potential for significant damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. So in today's forecast, we are going to break down exactly what you need to know about the weather that'll be impacting the United States over the next 10 days. So let's jump right into what's happening across the country today, and we have a large storm right now on the East Coast, and this actually brought a ton of severe weather yesterday to the Ohio Valley in the southeast. We end up having a ton of damaging winds, hail, and even one tornado back over in southwestern Indiana. This storm system is now moving along the East Coast and will bring another shot of severe weather this afternoon from areas like North Carolina and Virginia back into Florida, before eventually this kind of meanders just off the East Coast, where it still will bring some rainfall and colder weather over the weekend. And then eventually by the late weekend, another storm system will move into the Midwest and the Ohio Valley, and this could bring a slightly more elevated threat of severe weather before much warmer weather builds in the Great Plains, and then the big return of severe weather, which is likely over the next couple of weeks. Now let's talk more about the weather pattern that'll be impacting the United States over the next couple of weeks. And to look at that, we are going to look at our jet stream, and our weather pattern right now is very weird. So currently we have a large ridge that's in place along the Rocky Mountains, and this is building a lot of warm and dry air, and it's also basically a wall preventing any big storms from entering the United States from the Pacific Ocean, which is a good thing for right now, because that means no big severe weather events are on the near horizon, meaning within the next 3 to 5 days. And then on the East Coast, we have a large trough that is in place, and this is going to bring some showers and thunderstorms over the next few days from Florida to New England. Now, by the late weekend and early next week, we are actually going to see something that is reminiscent of an omega block weather pattern, where there's a trough in place back over in the northwest, high pressure system sitting in between that trough and another trough along the East Coast. And this is actually what we would call an omega block weather pattern, which means that we are going to have quite a bit of warm and dry weather build across the Great Plains. Now, eventually by late Sunday and Monday, there will be an intensifying low pressure system that goes right over this high pressure system, and this will actually bring the return of some severe weather to parts of the Ohio Valley. And in addition to that, we already have a slight risk of severe weather in place back over in parts of Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky, which we'll talk more about here in just a moment. But definitely a more significant straight line wind threat, large hail, and maybe an isolated tornado threat as well on Monday. By Tuesday and Wednesday, that low pressure system moves into the northeast, and notice our friend omega block comes right back into play. We have two low pressure systems and another ridge building in the Great Plains, which is going to lead again to dry and warm weather. But I do think as we get closer to the end of next week and eventually by the following week, so basically the last 2 weeks here of April, there will be a lot more shots of severe weather. And the reason why is because we do expect more ridging to build along the East Coast eventually as we go into the last 10 days of April. Now, keep in mind that what I'm showing you here is a large trough, but I do think after this low pressure system moves through by Sunday the 20th, I think we're going to eventually see more of these low pressure systems move over the Rockies, which will eventually bring the return of significant severe weather. It's going to take some time, but again, this is the kind of setup that is going to lead to a lot of damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes when we start to get some more of these setups that promote large-scale troughs over the Rockies. So as we go into Monday, the Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk of severe weather, including Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana, where straight-line damaging winds will be the main concern, but isolated large hail and even a tornado or two cannot be ruled out. And before we go into the timing of what's happening with this severe weather event and every other event that's happening this week, I do want to talk more about the sponsor of today's video. Your online security is just like preparing for severe weather. You can't wait till the storm hits to take action. Identity theft and online threats are just as real as the next big tornado, and they can leave serious damage if you're not prepared. That's why I use today's sponsor, Aura. It's an all-in-one digital security solution that keeps my personal information safe from hackers and identity thieves. While I am working hard to keep up to date with the day-to-day weather, Aura is working hard to protect my information and keep it safe from hackers. On average, it takes a company 277 days to report a breach. Your personal data could have been exposed months ago, and you're just hearing about it now. With Aura, I don't have to worry about someone stealing my identity, accessing my financial information, or useless scam callers wasting my time. Plus, Aura's powerful VPN and password manager adds an extra layer of security, ensuring my online presence is safe and secure. Don't get caught off guard and secure your online safety. Click the link in the description or visit aura.com/maxvelocity to get a free 14-day trial with Aura and stay protected just like you would before any storm. Now back to the forecast. Now let's talk more about the timing for showers, thunderstorms, and our upcoming severe weather events, beginning with what's happening this weekend. We'll continue to have an active stretch of weather from New England back into Florida. Really, today and tomorrow is the main days to watch for. There will even be a little bit of snowfall as we go into tomorrow morning for parts of New England and even back over New York, so something to look forward to if you love winter, which I know some of you probably are really desperately not wanting more snowfall. Eventually, by Sunday into Monday, that storm system moves off the East Coast, and we have yet again another significant storm that'll be moving across the Midwest and the Great Lakes. The good news is that this is really far to the north. If this was further south, we could have some more big problems on our hands when it comes to severe weather, but luckily our severe weather event on Monday is expected to be at least in a slightly more localized area. This is not spanning across 12 plus states like what we saw just a week ago. With that said, there will be a threat of severe weather on Monday, and this will really ramp up in the afternoon across parts of Ohio where straight line damaging winds, a little bit of hail, and maybe an isolated tornado or two will be in play. A little bit of snowfall as well for the upper Midwest Monday night. Not really talking about winter storm conditions for the most part, but a few inches are possible in northern Minnesota, parts of Wisconsin, and the upper peninsula of Michigan. By Wednesday and Thursday, that storm moves out. High pressure builds along the East Coast, and then yet again another storm system will move into the Midwest, and this could be our eventual return of some severe weather as we go into Thursday and Friday for parts of the Ohio Valley and along the Mississippi River Valley, so this will be something to watch for. Keep in mind that model placement with this next storm system has been all over the place. We've had some models showing a more significant threat of severe weather in the Great Plains, this one in particular showing it much further to the east, all the way over into the Ohio Valley, so definitely something to watch for, but again, as of right now, not enough confidence to really outline an area where we could see significant severe weather. By late Friday into Saturday, that storm moves along the East Coast, high pressure builds again, and then eventually as we go into late next weekend, things do become a lot more uncertain in the long term, but I do think we're going to start to see a lot more severe weather ramp up in the Great Plains as we go into the last couple of weeks of April, especially in the central and southern plains and eventually into the southeast. So definitely going to be a time frame that we need to be watching very closely, and there's definitely plenty of severe weather to come. Keep in mind, we are in the peak of severe weather season here over the next couple of months, and it's definitely going to be a very active stretch of weather. We got a little break right now, but we're going to start to see that break really start to fall apart, I think, as we go into late next week. And though we might not have a whole lot of severe weather in the near future, we do have a really crazy temperature roller coaster that's going to continue. Right now, below average temperatures are in place across most of the East Coast, and then above average temperatures from the Southwest into the northern plains. By the end of this weekend, all that warm air is going to start to move to the east. Cold air will start to fizzle out, and then we're going to get another shot of cold air as we go into Monday from another strong low pressure system that's in the upper Midwest, and this will actually usher in a lot of cold air, especially to the Ohio Valley and Northeast as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday. So don't put away those winter jackets quite yet if you're back over in the Ohio Valley or Northeast. By Thursday and Friday, warm air will briefly build again, and then another strong low pressure system will bring even more cold weather to areas like the Ohio Valley, Midwest, and the Great Plains. And then by the weekend, that cold air will be sitting along the East Coast. So be prepared for this temperature roller coaster. It will be a crazy next couple of weeks. You might need flip-flops on one day, and then the next day you might need a winter jacket. That's just how crazy this temperature roller coaster will be as we go into the rest of April. Now, the Weather Prediction Center does not think we're going to be seeing much rain over the next 7 days unless you're along the East Coast, where there will be at least a tenth of an inch of rain, up to an inch in some spots, mainly near Maryland from today and tomorrow's risk of heavy rainfall that could lead to some localized flooding. Otherwise, really just going to be talking about sporadic rainfall between now and the end of next week, but I do think, again, the return of severe weather is not far away, so continue to stay weather aware. Again, there's no big severe weather events at least until Monday, and then after Monday, our next one will probably be sometime around Friday. And the Climate Prediction Center agrees with our temperature roller coaster forecast between Wednesday of next week all the way through Sunday of next weekend. We are expecting above average temperatures in the Great Plains and along the West Coast, and on the other hand, colder than normal weather will continue for those along the East Coast. But again, keep in mind that we only got a few weeks left until we start to really see some of that spring and summertime heat kick in for many areas from Florida back into New England. So enjoy the colder weather while it's here. We're gonna have a long stretch of warm weather here as we go into the mid to late spring and early summer. And then in terms of rainfall between April 18th and 24th, we don't exactly know what's going to happen during this time period yet, but I would expect that we'll still be talking about above average rainfall along the Canadian and United States border, and then back over in Texas, probably going to see a little bit more rainfall here as we start to see some more large scale troughs go right over the Rockies. I think we're at least going to have one or two of those between this time period. And then otherwise, below average rainfall more likely than not along the West Coast. And then in the Southeast, things look a little bit more uncertain here, but likely not going to see nearly as much rainfall as we saw in the first week of April. And as always, thank you all so much for watching today's forecast. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. Our next video will probably be Saturday or Sunday, just depends on when we see more developments in our next significant storm, which is Monday for areas like the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. It's a relatively localized area for severe weather, so depending on what happens there, we may have a video tomorrow, we might have a video Sunday, we might have a video both days. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel and click the bell icon so you're notified with the latest forecast. And a huge shout out to Aura for sponsoring today's forecast. If you want to protect your family from online threats, you can click the top link in the description below and get a 14-day free trial today. I really appreciate them supporting our channel and helping us be able to do what we do here on a daily basis on this channel. And once again, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you guys all again in the next video.